Hi, I'm Bodie Pendus, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how to build this spotted cherry end table. Now, this video is a little bit longer than my typical video, but there's lots of stuff in it. For example, we're going to show you the plans, where we got them. We're going to show you how to cut 30-60 miter joints. We're going to show you how to do tapered legs, how to cut those. In addition, we're going to show you a couple of tips, one of them particularly how to hide mistakes you make on uneven miters. Then we're going to show you why you consider pre-staining some of the hard and difficult places to reach. And last of all, we're going to show you how to put the spots in spotted cherry. So here's my next find. We found a fella that sells off-cut. He goes out to East Texas from a place that probably manufactures furniture and gets all their offcuts and then sells them. So this load of what we think is cherry, we got some nice 1x2 pieces, some 2x2 pieces, a couple pieces a little bit larger. But basically we're going to build some furniture out of this. So the plans for this end table I actually got off the internet. So this is the style of the end table we're going to build, and I had to add some rough cut and finish cut because they had these in nominal dimensions. And so this is what the shelf unit looks like. So with that, I'll tell you more as we go along. So to start with, this is going to be the glue up for the top of our end table. This is some cherry wood that we have, and so we've cut this to approximate width here, and we have it a little bit oversized so we can trim it once we've completed. Okay, now I'm going to do my glue up. I have my parts taped down here, my clamps, then my boards. I'm going to go butter them up. You've seen this before, so I'm not going to show you it again. So what I want to show you as you're planing your boards is, you can see there's a dark area in here. That's the part that's smooth and been planed down. This lighter area in here has not been touched by the plane blade. So to get this to that color, we have to continue to lower this part to be able to get that, because that's a little bit lower. So I've been working on this for about 30 minutes, and it'll probably take me another hour to be able to get it to where I've got these spots out. So these are the little pieces, we'll call them slats, that go underneath for the shelf, and they'll be spaced apart about 3/4 of an inch. So I rough cut them to 14 inches, and I want to cut them all to the precise distance of 13 inches. So I just built this stop on here and measure all that and cut 6 or 7 of them at a time. So that's how we do it. So here's the shelf for my end table. Everything's cut to depth or width except for these 2 pieces. And we've got just a smidge to cut off that, so they'll all fit flush. But anyway, this is what the bottom shelf looks like. I'll have to come in and notch at the edge of this 1 inch to allow for the leg. The legs will fit there, 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 and there. And then we have the top, and that's the next step. So I have a jig that I made for 45-degree cuts. So I'm going to take off the angle cut and put on 2 15s for a 30, because I need a 30-60 for my cut bevel in the frame. So let's see if this will work. Now I've used this before, but not on this sled. We're going to do a couple practice cuts to see how it goes. So I have 2 15-degree bevels here to make 30. So I'm going to attempt to cut a 30-degree cut over here, and then I have to do the reciprocal cut, which I'll have to figure out how to do that one, for the other side. Okay, so I have 2/15 to make a 30. So I figured if I take a piece here and cut this, and that'll be 30 degrees, and put that piece on here, 2 30s make 60, then I should be able to cut the reciprocal piece. Let's see if that works. Okay, since I know that works, those are 30, this is going to be my 60-degree template. And so I'll save that and be able to use it again for another project. You can see I have holes in those. I hang those up on the wall. I take it off here, I'll drill a hole and hang it on the wall as well. Okay, so my legs I have to cut to 30 degrees, and then the top brace will be the 60 degree. So this is the dangerous cut because I've already got dimensions on the legs. So it's got to be right. So let's give it a whirl. Got all 4 of the legs lined up with an angle cut so the point is the same. Now I'm going to trim the ends so I have these bunched together. So let's give this a whirl. Okay, these are the side pieces I'm cutting. I need 60 degrees on each end. So we'll cut one, flip it over and cut the other end. I had to take my back support off of my sled here because this thing was longer than the sled. So let's okay, these are the pieces we just cut, so let's see how they fit. Oh my, right on the money. Look at that. Some things just happen right, because I guessed at this angle, thought would work, and lo and behold, I was right. 60-30, and it matches up precisely with the width of that board. Yeah, sometimes it's better to be lucky than smart. Alright, so I have my last couple of pieces I need to plane down. This tells me I need to sharpen my blade. That's next on my agenda, but let's get this planed down some. So the next step is these legs have a little slant or bevel or trim on them from about 13 inches height to taper it down to where it's only 1 inch wide. So the key is we have 4 legs to cut. Fortunately, all the legs have identical bevel since we've already cut the top. So now what I'm going to do is put this on my straight cut jig. So this is the bevel we'll be cutting right here. So we'll put this on the straight cut jig. I'm going to screw in a stop block here, and then we'll come in here and put a piece there and up here, so the board cannot move it all up or down since every board is cut the same, and then we should be able to create the same bevel on every board. Okay, let's try them for fit. This is the first board that we use as our sample, and so pushed in, it's right on this edge here and should be there. Second board. Okay, fits there, there, there. So after placing the leg to be tapered cut on the straight cut jig, it's clamped down and then run quickly through the table saw. Hey, one perfect leg. There we go. 3 more to go. So here I am placing the leg on the taper jig and clamping it down, get a nice tight hold, and then we turn on the table saw and we run it through and we cut leg number 2. Away we go. So I'm doing a rough fit, and I know that part of the issue is the leg has to come out a little bit, which leaves a gap in here, which means the tip of this has to be sanded some. So that's the same there. We'll try this other piece, see how that works. So the leg was attached to the top with 2 pocket hole screws. So each leg had 2 screws in it attached to the top. So it was pretty easy to assemble it after the holes were drilled. So I have all the slats for the bottom shelf. So now I'm going to just chamfer the edges of these. These are nice and sharp and square. Got all my pocket hole drilled. So we're just going to run our plane across this a couple times and get these edges just to a nice little chamfer on them. Okay, so I have a glue up. So I'm going to glue these end pieces here to this piece here. And this piece has a 3/4 inch lip here and down at the bottom because that's where the leg will ultimately be attached. It is 3/4 inch. So I've got the shelf frame glued up and I got it marked A and B. I'll know which end of the leg fronts will fit there. So this will fit approximately right here. And so what I'll have to do, I've cut this on the table saw. And so now I have to chisel this out to get the precise fit so it'll fit in this gap right here. That looks like that may already do it. So for our dry fit, this fits in here like that. We got a smidgen off on that edge there. Here's a table leg assembly with the 2 side pieces clamped on. Only the 2 end pieces are glued together. So if you measure the inside of this, that's 20.5, maybe a 1/16 less than that. And over here, the distance is going to be 16.5. So now let me show you the problem I have. This is my top, and I have cut all these pieces that I have here. Oh, on average here, they're about 21. So I got a 1/2 inch to play with. But let me show you the mistake I made. I draw a straight edge off of the very edge of this. And to cut this line right here, so from this line to that edge, I need 20.5. So look what happens when I do this, and I get over here, 20.25. I'm short a 1/4 inch because I didn't position this board correctly in line with that. A 1/2 inch overlap wasn't enough. So what I'm going to do is now come in and cut this and take this 1/4 inch piece and glue it onto there, and I should be able to be okay on that side. We'll see how that looks. Fixing your screw ups. So after I repaired the top by adding the 1/4 inch and I had the glue up dry, I cut the top to the right size and drilled pocket hole screws all the way around so I could attach it to the top of the frame. But there is a trick to getting these areas flush along the edge here, and that is I got to clamp it down enough. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So I clamp this down, and I have this piece of plywood under here because it's flat, and so you'll notice that I have pre-stained the slats that are going in this shelf. Boy, it's just a lot easier to do it before you do that. There's no way I could get my fingers in here to stain it. So this worked really well. Okay, so after assembling my shelf, I went ahead and took my plane and knocked off any high edges that were caused, particularly these couple 3 when I didn't have it clamped right. Were a little high, so that way they're exactly even with this side. So now what I'm going to do is take my block plane and go ahead and chamfer these edges here because I've already done that on these slats. Look at this, an imperfect miter cut. Boy, we all have those from time to time. No matter how hard we do the miter cuts, none of them are precisely square. Let me show you the solution to this. This is one I learned from Colin Canet on Woodwork Web. So what we're going to do to fill in this miter, typically you can come in and put glue in here. It's the first step. The second step would put glue with sawdust mixed in it so it's the same color as the wood. But since we're going to stain this, the stain is going to be a different color than the sawdust. Simple solution. Stain the sawdust before you mix it with the glue. So here we go. I have already stained my sawdust. Now let's see how far that gets us. Kind of make a paste. So we have this miter here to work with. And then the edge. That one appeared to work pretty good there. All right, we're going to scrape this off here. This is so with that, let's see what we get when we wipe this off. Even the corner, that turned out nice. Okay, 2 more to go. So if you liked our tip on staining your sawdust to fill your miter joints, be sure and give me a thumbs up. Now will be a great time. Okay, so now I have my shelf to my little end table. And I had pre-stained the slats because it's too hard to get on the inside. Of course, I had to sand and level some of these, and of course with that I stripped off some of the old stain. Does not matter because now comes the regular staining. So the other tip I want to have in here, I'm not going to fill these pocket hole screws, so I'm going to basically stain those. So I'll do that with a Q-tip to make sure I get that color filled in there. So this is how we make a spotted cherry. To make this special effect, I take a ebony stain and flick with a toothbrush the stain across it in a very light pattern, just to give it a touch of color that's not red. This is what the underside of the shelf looks like after I've given it the spotted cherry look. Now onto the glue up of the top. So I'm gluing the sides of the top now. And you'll notice that I've actually have the top already stained. I did that because I wanted to make sure that my patch job I had to do with my 1/4 inch would look good, and the other features of my planing, my attempts at planing, wouldn't show too many imperfections. So what I'll do to get these edges precisely smooth, I'll just run my little plane over the edge. So if the edge of the board or the edge of the trim is higher, we'll just make that smooth as a baby's behind. So I'm preparing to put my shelf in. You can see I've already stained and did my speckled coating on here. I haven't finished it yet. Wanted to do that because it'd be far easier now than after I have this shelf installed. So to install this shelf, I have a particular slot marked where it goes right here, so I know that that's where it'll fit. I put these supports in. I cut those at 7 3/4 inch, so all of them will be spaced the appropriate distance, so when I push this down, it'll stay in that same spot while I screw it in. Spacers out. All right, so construction is complete on this, and I love it. It turned out fabulous. I really like it. So, but let me show you a couple of items that I'm gonna have to make some minor adjustments. Don't necessarily call them construction mistakes, but just items I need to do to make the end table have a real professional look. Right here are a couple pocket hole screws. I had originally decided not to cover any of them. These are visible from sitting around looking at the table. So those are the only two I'm going to cover, because there's the only two that can be seen if you're not actually looking up under the table. The second item, remember when I talked about miter joints not exactly fitting? Looky here. This straight edge is flat on this surface, and straight down over here, you can see this leg is bent or tilted in some. Looks okay like that, but in reality, off this 1/2 degree or 1 degree makes this thing slant in, which makes the edge of this shelf in here a little proud. I'm going to fix that by getting my plane and plane this smooth in here, so that joint and this over here will be flush to the leg. Again, making it have a little bit more quality, professional look to it. That ought to do it. After we do those items, then we can stain it and move on down the road. After the staining of the cherry color, now I'm putting the spots in the spotted cherry. Congratulations, you made it to the end. You probably deserve a medal. If you're new to my channel, consider subscribing. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And as usual, come back and see me real soon.